Flyers. Tipped in front of the net. 97.3 ESPN. WENJ. WENJ HD. Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennick. It's good! On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. And he scored! Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort studio, here's Josh Hennick.
Wednesday edition of Game Night, Hump Day edition on 97.3 ESPN FM and a 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Glad to have you guys on board the show today. Yes, the Phillies lost today. It's not the end of the world, though. Let's not get carried away, folks. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on that conversation. We'll talk about the Phils, though, as they are still, if not the best, one of the best teams in all of baseball. Plus, Cooper DeJean made some interesting comments about what his role could be for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I got to tell you guys, he may have just given away what the plan is for the secondary for the 2024 season. All that and more this hour. Dave Weinberg is back for a Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. Plus, Mike Gill just gave away tickets to this Saturday's boxing event at Tropicana Showroom. And I'll let you know the winners for that contest. It would be George Wad from Galloway, as well as, let's see here, Dennis from Brigantine. You are the winners of the boxing tickets, a pair of tickets to this Saturday's event at Tropicana Atlantic City. We will reach out to you guys after I am done with the show tonight. I'll shoot you guys a text to make sure you guys know that you are all the details, how to get your tickets this Saturday at Tropicana Atlantic City to see Justin Figueroa, Mr. Atlantic City, and the great young boxers from New Jersey and New York all keep establishing themselves as up-and-coming fighters in the fight game. Also, New Jersey's John Leonardo is on the card as well. So, Dennis from Brigantine and George from Galloway, you are both Mike Gill's winners for a ticket giveaway. Mike Gill will give away 2 more pairs of tickets tomorrow on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. As always, you guys can join the text board at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Before we get to the Eagles stuff, I want to hit on the Phillies because they did lose today 5-3. And today was an example of why I don't get too high or too low in a baseball season. You know, baseball is a long year. Such a long year. And a game like today, you know, Mike Gill called it on the Sports Bash earlier. He called it the NOLA roller coaster ride, right? And frankly, I don't think Mike is wrong for describing it that way, because when you think about Aaron Nola, for as consistent of a pitcher as he is, that he gives you innings, he always gets you innings. He always burns innings. He always chews up those innings to save the bullpen. Today was a game where you could argue, did they leave him in too long? Did Nola do some overthinking? Did the Blue Jays just get to him, right? Whatever your explanation was, whatever your reasoning was for why the Phillies lost today, the reality is that this comes with the baseball season. The Phillies took out one of the better pitchers in all of baseball. Barrios of the Blue Jays is a very good pitcher. And yet, you crushed him yesterday. Well, it's a completely different game today. And I think it's just the reality that, you know, a day game after a night game, you never know how guys are going to be feeling physically and mentally. Bassett's a good pitcher. Not a great pitcher, but a good pitcher. Not as good as Barrios, but he's still a good pitcher. And the Blue Jays do actually have some good bullpen arms. And I think a game like today is just an example of why we can't get too high or too low. That's all. I think the Phillies are still one of the best teams in baseball. We've been talking about what do they compare to? Is it the 93 Phillies? Is it the 2011 Phillies? But the reality is that I think that this is still going to be a great season. It's a little disappointing that they ended their home winning streak, though. I think that is going to be part of the key moving forward, because now that the Phillies end this homestand, they get a day off and they're going to go back on the road. I'm telling you guys right now, there's going to be a lull in the season. We're going to get to a point in the schedule where the Phillies are going to have trouble winning games. And this hot streak they are on right now, okay? This 2 losses since April 25th, right? I mean, you're talking about a team that has 4 losses since April 15th, okay? So for over a month and almost a half, you got 4 losses in the whole stretch. And 2 of them were to Cincinnati. So let's be realistic. This team is on an insane winning streak right now. They are one of the hottest teams in all of baseball. There was a point in this season where this Phillies team was 7-7. They are right now 26-12. That means that since starting the season at 7-7, the Phillies have gone 19-5. And I understand there are some negative Nancy's out there who are saying, well, you beat the Pirates and the Rockies and the White Sox, and you beat the Angels. But good teams beat the bad teams. That's part of the job. That's part of the resume. That's part of the conversation. And you are going to be grateful for them going 19-5. Yeah, 19-5 in the last 24 games. You're going to be grateful. Excuse me. You are going to be grateful for that. I don't know why I sound like I just went through puberty there with my voice, but still, you're going to be grateful that they went 19-5 in this 24 game stretch, because we are going to get to a point in the schedule where they're going to have some struggles. Now, where in the schedule that is, it's debatable, because right now you're going to go to Miami to play the Marlins, who are not a good team at all right now. I don't know how the Marlins dropped off this badly. I mean, they didn't just dump Luis Urias to the Padres. They said thanks for nothing. I mean, this Marlins team is 10-29 on the year. You'll get 2 out of 3 against them. The Mets series is going to be interesting, because I don't think the 18-18 record of the Mets tells the whole story. I think this Mets team is still a team to be dealt with. And I think that when you look at who's on the schedule that you got to face, you got a lefty on the schedule against the Marlins. You got a lefty against the Mets. It will be interesting to see how the Phillies adjust. And by the way, Luis Severino is quietly having an amazing season. He is pitching really well right now. And even though his team, the Mets, have not been able to win all of his starts, he's having a really good year with a 2.92 ERA. So there's a chance that in the 4-game series against the Mets, the 2 in New York and the 2 back in Philadelphia, you could potentially split that 2 down the middle with them. And then a couple of weeks, you got the Rangers coming to town. And the Rangers are a very good team as well. They got another road trip at Colorado, at San Francisco. By the way, you play the Mets again in June. Then you have the London series, right? Where they go to London, they play the Red Sox. I am curious to find out where this team is going to have their slump and to see how many people actually remember that the Phillies are a good baseball team. Dan and EHT chimes in at 609-403-0973, says, baseball is a weird but very humbling sport, more than any other I've ever seen. Dan EHT is right. He says, also he goes on to say the last couple seasons, the Phillies have swept the first place team. They got swept by a last place team. And that's part of baseball, though. You know, you get humbled every time you think you've arrived, every time you think you've reached the mountaintop in baseball. I always tell people one of the three hardest abilities in all of sports is hitting a baseball. To me, what like guys like Bryce Harper and Alec Boehm do, to me, is incredible. As someone who was the most below average hitter in the history of youth sports and high school baseball, and below average is a nice way of putting it. I'm telling you right now, hitting a baseball is one of the hardest things I've ever attempted to do. So to me, I am impressed anytime these guys can do anything as hitters. So I get it. It is a humbling sport. You are going to be knocked down a peg or 2 or 5 in baseball. But I just hope people remember this 19-5 stretch in the last 24 games. I hope people keep that in mind when the lull happens, when you do have the streak of games, when things are not going to be ideal. Six 403-0973 is the text board. Also your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. I did want to get to Cooper DeJean before we hit the break and talk with Dave Weinberg for this week's edition of Weinberg Wednesday, because I think Cooper DeJean might have given too much information away. So on today's edition, this morning's edition of the Up and Adams show on FanDuel TV, Kay Adams was interviewing Cooper DeJean, the new rookie for the Eagles. And she asked him, hey, has anyone talked to you about what your role is going to be in the defense? And of course, as you know, there's a lot of people, not just myself, but others have conjectured that Cooper DeJean's future is probably at safety in the NFL. Now, at college, he did play a little bit of everything. He played some safety. He played box safety. He played cover safety. He played outside corner, inside corner, in a defense that asked him to basically be a utility knife, a multifaceted weapon. So Kay Adams asked him the logical question, the question that any of us would ask a guy like Cooper DeJean, to be like, what have they told you what your role is going to be next season?
I really talked all three positions with them. You know, I worked mostly the nickel and corner position at rookie minicamp, but there's been talks about safety pre-draft and returning as well. You know, so wherever they put me, I'll be excited. I'm excited for the opportunity, you know, to start at the corner position.
Two major takeaways from what DeJean told you there. And it goes to what I think is going to be part of the conversation this upcoming season for Philadelphia. Number one, he said that they've talked to me about all the positions, but he hasn't taken any reps at anything except for corner, especially nickel corner. That explicitly tells me that Cooper DeJean is probably going to be competing for the nickel corner spot versus Avonte Maddox. You go back to just a couple months ago when the Eagles signed CJ Gardner-Johnson. The conversation we were having here on 97.3 ESPN was about, is CJ Gardner-Johnson just going to be a safety? Do they play him at nickel corner? What is the plan for him, right? And it's sounding like that the Eagles, because of what happened last year and the frustrations that the organization had with the safety position, that maybe they want to keep CJ Gardner-Johnson at safety, and instead of having CJ bounce around, they're going to look to Cooper DeJean and say, you're going to bounce around. You're going to be the utility knife. You're going to be the guy who does a little bit of everything. Because you don't tell a guy, hey, we're talking to you about safety, inside corner, outside corner, and punt return just because. So it already sounds like the Eagles' plan for DeJean is going to get him work at corner and potentially maybe have him compete with Avonte Maddox for the slot. But the other part of what we learned there is DeJean just gave it away. It sounds very much like your starting safeties are probably going to be CJ, GJ, and Reed Blankenship potentially. Because if they're not working DeJean at safety and he's already getting work at the corner positions, that means they are preparing him for a specific type of role on the defense. And as of right now, if DeJean is not going to be playing safety, and Sidney Brown, by the way, is still coming back from an injury. Don't forget about that. It sounds like CJ Gardner-Johnson and Reed Blankenship are going to be your safeties. It'll be either Avonte Maddox or Cooper DeJean at the slot corner. Gives you a little idea what Vic Fangio is planning to do this upcoming season. Talk more about it with Dave Weinberg coming in next on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Do you have a job? Do you have $199? Do you want a brand new Nissan?
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Stuck in a loan or lease? AJ the Trade Man can get you roll-leased, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Then drive home in your new Nissan Altima S or Sentra SV for only $199 per month lease with zero security deposit and only $29.99 due. That's a brand new 24 Nissan Altima S or Sentra SV that gets up to 39 miles per gallon for only $199 per month. And don't forget the Matt Blatt Nissan Peace of Mind 4-day love it or leave it return policy only at Matt Blatt Nissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through NEMAC. Negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $589 fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to mattblattnissan.com for complete details. VIN RY229097 and RN330138. Sentra. Lease selling price $25,509. Ultimate lease selling price $27,829. Offer ends 6/5/2024. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike. Egg Harbor Township.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic and not moving around.
Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it.
That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
You give and you give. It's time to get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a Samsung Galaxy A14 included with the activation of a Silver Unlimited plan. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah!
Switch to Straight Talk. Find us at Walmart and straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Requires in-store activation. Device offer ends 6/9/24. Taxes and fees apply.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GOLD for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GOLD for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GOLD for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Don't forget, professional boxing returns Tropicana showroom for the first time in 7 years this Saturday when Boxing Insider Promotions presents a stacked card you do not want to miss. Yes, this Saturday, May 11th, see undefeated junior middleweight Justin Figueroa from Atlantic City, along with former New Jersey Golden Gloves champ John Leonardo and the top New Jersey and New York fighters in action inside the Tropicana Atlantic City showroom. Go to Ticketmaster.com and get your tickets now and make sure you do not miss this special Boxing Insider Promotions event Saturday, May 11th at Tropicana Atlantic City. Before we get back to you guys, text on the text board at 609-403-0973. I see Steve from Ventnor chiming in with the you guys and more. Just right now, it's Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg is back here at 97.3 ESPN. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm doing well, Josh. How are you? I have to apologize. My microphone's not working right here.
Well, I can hear you, so I guess it is working in the most literal sense.
In the middle of a coach pitch, or machine pitch monitor game again.
One of those again. Okay, gotcha. Well,
We're
hopefully
3-0 in the second inning.
Oh, well. I guess you got some action at least going on there. So, Dave, speaking of baseball, aside from the Phillies loss today, which obviously was a little disappointing, but you have a team that started 7-7 on the year, and now they've won 19 of their last 24 games. When you see a team go on a streak like that, is your reaction to be like, hey, they're finally playing up to what we expect of them, or it's a long baseball season?
They're going to be a very good team, Josh. But if people I saw some commentary about how they're the best Phillies team that they've ever seen, and there might be the best, top 5 Phillies sports franchise in history. Can we just pump the brakes a little bit? It's May, right? So how about we just wait and see? And but I mean, they're playing excellent baseball. It's going to be impossible to maintain this pace, but so far so good, and there is reason for optimism. Although I don't know about the over the top stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not ready to. I know people are talking about the '93 Phillies, 2011 Phillies. I'm not personally ready for that. I was saying earlier today, because people remember 2011. People forget Cliff Lee had 6, not 1, not 2, 6 shutouts in 2011. He didn't win the Cy Young, Dave. That's what we're talking about in 2011. That team was really good, and some of those guys still weren't good enough. So I'm not ready to go there with this team. And by the way, the Phillies franchise has won over 100 games 3 times. None of those 3 times they ever won the World Series.
I'm sorry, say it again.
So the Phillies organization has won 100 or more games 3 times.
Yes.
They never won the World Series any of those 3 seasons.
Correct.
So
And
at the end of the day, why am I going to sit here and worry about if the Phillies win 100 games this year if the franchise
there's
winning
no,
100 games is a
reason.
bad omen?
Winning 100 games is not the point, right? It's just to get to the playoffs. I mean, they've done that the last 2 years. It's a great barometer. I mean, winning 100 games is important, I guess. But I mean, as long as you win, as long as you get this one of those wild card spots, or win a division, it doesn't matter whether you win 90 or 89. I mean, it's all 0-0 when you get to the playoffs anyway, right? So the 100 wins doesn't count for anything. I mean, it says it looks good, but I don't think it means anything.
No, it definitely doesn't. But it's going to be interesting because I mentioned before you came on, Dave, for all the people who are happy with the Phillies right now, are they going to remember the Phillies went 19-5?
Are they going to remember
when they go through a slump later this year?
Are they going to remember this? Well, you should. I mean, it's an exciting time right now. I mean, the ballpark is packed and and the Phillies are playing well. But again, it all depends on how they're playing later in the year, right? I mean, the more wins you can get now, the better off you're going to be. That's the more cushion that you have. But if there's like a 10-game losing streak or something, you know how Phillies fans are. They're pretty fickle, and you're going to hear calls for Rob Thompson's job and so to get benched, and you got to change the order, and you got to change the rotation, and but I mean, so far so good right now. So I guess you just kind of like ride the wave for as long as it lasts.
Dave, let's flip it over to the Eagles because I think Cooper DeJean may have given away part of the Eagles' plan because when he was asked on the Up and Adams show earlier today on FanDuel TV, Dave, Cooper DeJean said that the Eagles are playing him a lot at nickel corner, and he's primarily got reps at corner, nothing at safety yet, even though they've talked to him about it. So it sounds like to me that maybe part of the plan for the Eagles is initially to not play DeJean at safety and maybe have him compete with Avonte Maddox at nickel. What are your thoughts on that?
I have a feeling they're just kind of like experimenting right now. Seeing which parts work well in different situations, probably mixing and matching a little bit. I personally think the DeJean's better off at safety, but if they feel like they have enough depth back there, I mean, more power to them. But I don't see it. But I think he'd be more of an impact player at safety than he would at nickel corner. I mean, as long as Avonte Maddox is healthy, which is never a given. But I got a feeling they're just probably just playing with the different parts, playing switching guys in different roles and just seeing how they work.
For me, Dave, I like the idea of DeJean getting reps at nickel because now we can spend more time keeping CJ Gardner-Johnson at safety. I'm not a fan of this idea of moving him out of safety when you had such mediocre to poor safety play last year.
You mean CJ or you mean DeJean?
CJ. I like CJ.
No, definitely. Yeah, he's a safety. Yeah. I thought you meant. I don't know who's the other safety. Is it Gardner? Is it Blankenship?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well then, I mean, if you're looking for a way to get DeJean off the field and you think that the Blankenship and CJ are your safeties, then yeah, I can see moving them to the nickel. I'm not as big a fan of Blankenship as some other people. I mean, I know he's a nice player, physical player, but I don't know that he's like an all-pro or anything, or I don't know what kind of potential he's got. I think he's just as good. He's as good as he's going to get in my eyes. I don't know. Maybe he'll be different in a different system. Maybe Fangio will have a different way of using him. I don't know, but I still think I'd rather see DeJean at safety with CJ.
Talking with Dave Weinberg for a Weinberg Wednesday here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Dave, I did want to ask you because you and I had not talked since the passing of Frank Campo, so I want to give you the opportunity to give your recollections and your experiences with Frank Campo, the longtime athletic director of Atlantic City.
Oh, thank you very much for giving me that chance. Yeah, Frank was a very big part of my career, especially when I was first starting out as a sports writer in the Atlantic City area. He always went out of his way to help, to offer advice and guidance, and just a tremendous person and a tremendous athletic director. I mean, he would he was like, he made sure everything ran smoothly without being overbearing. He let the players play, he let the coaches coach. Never seemed to get in the way as far as politics or personal preferences, and that's the mark of a really good athletic director, a guy who just does his job and does it very well, but then lets the other people do their jobs also, and just not to mention a tremendous person too. I mean, really likable, funny, personable. He's really going to be missed. I really miss him already, actually.
I don't know if you have a favorite story, Dave, but I'll just give my favorite story of Frank Campo real quick. I remember this is when I worked at my previous radio job, and we had to broadcast a basketball game at Atlantic City High School. And I had to call him because I was actually locked out of the entrance. I was supposed to get into the building, and it was snowing outside.
Oh,
And
good.
he himself ran to the door, let me in, walked me through like 20 different back ways around the high school to get to the gym. And when we got out there was nothing waiting for me. No table, no chairs, no electric, to plug into. He himself helped me get the table, get the chair. He didn't delegate. He didn't tell somebody else to do it. He himself, and this was like 2010, I think it was. He didn't have to do all that himself. He could have delegated that, but he personally made sure that I was set up and taken care of for my broadcast.
Yeah, he's a very he was very a selfless guy like that. Never worried about where you were from or what your status in the media or what have you. He treated everybody the same, with the same class and dignity and respect. And yeah, I'm not surprised that he would do something like that. That sounds like it sounds like something like a guy like Frank would do.
Dave Weinberg, I'll let you get back to your speed pitch ball out. It looks like a beautiful day outside. I'm jealous of you right now. So
yeah, oh my gosh, it was a tremendous day. I got to play Running Deer Golf Club today with Ron Jaworski and Mike Quick of all people. And yeah, we just had the best time. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, I missed the beach day, but having a golf day in this place isn't too bad.
well, now you're just bragging, Dave. I see how it is. You're name dropping here.
What are you gonna do? Yeah.
Dave Weinberg's Extra Point columns are over at 973 ESPN.com. May join me right here on Game Night on 973 ESPN. Dave, thanks again.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I'll talk to you next week. Take care.
Absolutely. Listen, Dave's living his best life out there. He's got his grandson. You're trying to talk to him in the middle of our conversation. He played golf today with Ron Jaworski and Mike Quick. I mean, good for him. That's what I say. Yeah, I did want to bring up Frank Campo. For those who didn't hear, longtime Lansing athletic director Frank Campo passed away a few days ago. And, we live in a world now where people don't treat their jobs with the same level of respect and dedication and attention to detail they used to. There's a lot of people in today's world who have been losing their jobs and getting fired, not because they did a bad job at their position, but because they're worth more than somebody else at the same position. So we have companies now that will fire people. They will let go of people, not because they did a bad job, but because they do such a good job that their salary is worth more than somebody else. So they would rather get somebody in there who they can pay less, and they don't care about the quality of the work because they just want to save a buck. And Frank Campo came from a world where you had a job and you had to earn your paycheck every single day, every single week. And he never treated it like he was above you or above the job or he was too good for anything. I mean, the guy literally helped me carry a table out to the side of the basketball court to call a game years ago. I'm talking about 14 years ago, 13 years ago now. And I'll never forget that because people like that know what it's like to do the job, do it well, and you go home with a tired smile, but a tired smile on your face, knowing that you did everything you could for your job. And I heard earlier today that there were some people in this industry, the sports media industry, not here at 97.3 ESPN, somebody at another company. Josh, I think hanging out with you, by the way, here on Wednesday night. I'll get back to the text in just a minute. I see Steve from Ventnor at 609-403-0973. But just give me a second, folks. I heard the news that there were a couple people in this sports media business who were let go of today. And it was kind of a slap in the face, because I know at least one of those people personally, and I know the kind of job that they do, and I know the kind of work that they do, and the kind of professionals that they are. And it was obviously the person wasn't fired or let go due to the job they were doing. They were fired and let go because basically somebody who crunches numbers said that person's expendable because of how much money they were making. And that's the world we live in now. People don't look at a job as I'm here to earn my paycheck. They treat other people like they're just numbers on a spreadsheet. And it's disgusting. It's pathetic. And, if that's the direction certain companies want to go in, I hope more people don't want to work for those companies, or they look at those jobs as, I don't want to have that job. I don't want to support that company, and I never want to see good people losing jobs because some number cruncher who doesn't know people, who has no attention to detail, who collects a paycheck, and they just go on their way. They get to have a say in somebody's professional life and their future. That's not the way it used to be. And to me, Frank Campo is an example of what it used to be, which was you cared about the job you did. You treated people the right way. As Dave Weinberg put it, it didn't matter what media outlet you were from. He treated everyone with respect. It's the idea that it didn't matter where you were from, who you knew. You just did your job and you treated people with respect and professionalism. And we're living in a world now where people are getting opportunities and jobs, not because they do the job the right way, but because either they know the right person or they meet some sort of, fiscal criteria for a company. And it's a shame that that's the world we live in now. So I want to take a moment to reflect on and appreciate Frank Campo, passed away a few days ago, former Atlantic City athletic director. All right. Back to Tech Sports 609-403-0973. Steve and Ventnor, I promise to get to your text. He says, I anticipate CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to cover the other team's best tight end. I'm excited to see how they utilize DeJean. He'll be everywhere. I believe they'll keep Mitchell on the outside behind Bradbury and Slats. From Steven Ventnor. Well, two things. One, I think CJ Gardner-Johnson, I don't know if he'll always cover the other team's best tight end, because not every team has a great tight end to cover. Not every team has a George Kittle, a TJ Hawkinson, a Mark Andrews, a Travis Kelce. So you can get away with asking your slot corner, or if you have a high level linebacker who can cover the tight end, you'll need to ask your safety to do that. I think that CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to be utilized as basically your best defensive player in the secondary. What if you go up against a team like the Rams? You don't want CJ Gardner-Johnson on the Rams tight end, right? You want him to be maybe shadowing Cooper Kupp, right? If Cooper Kupp drops into the slot, you want CJ Gardner-Johnson to shadow him. You don't want CJ Gardner-Johnson on the other team's best tight end. Same thing that goes with the Cowboys. Do you want CJ Gardner-Johnson on Ferguson, or do you want him on CD Lamb if he goes into the slot? So I think that, I wouldn't look at CJ Gardner-Johnson as a tight end neutralizer. I look at CJ Gardner-Johnson as a matchup neutralizer, a matchup weapon for you. And for DeJean, I think it's interesting that you say he'll be used everywhere. I kind of tend to think that you're not incorrect in that because he played everywhere at Iowa. People forget that Iowa had one of the best defenses in college football last year, and a big part of that was DeJean. And he played almost every position in the secondary last year, and he played a lot of different types of coverage. He played zone, he played man, he played in the slot, he played on the outside, he played safety. He did a little bit of everything. So I think that for a guy like DeJean, he is in a unique position to, realize that he can just play whatever you need him to play, and he will be a tremendous resource, a tremendous weapon out there. And I think that that's exciting. The thing with Mitchell, though, I'll say, Stephen Bettner, is I'm conflicted on what they're doing on the corner position. I'm not 100% sold on the idea that Bradbury is going to be here next year. There's still a part of me that looks at the Eagles and say, are they really going to keep this guy? Because, he had a really good year with Jonathan Gannon in 2022. Then he had a bad year last year under the Sean Desai / Matt Patricia, a mishmash garbage that happened last year where nobody was actually used properly. And so I wonder, does Fangio look at Bradbury and say, I know how to use this guy better than the other guys did, so I'm going to get what you saw in 2022? Or are we going to get the training camp and maybe halfway through the training camp, Fangio has to tell Howie Roseman, this guy's cooked. You got to get rid of him. And the Eagles trade him during training camp to a team that's desperate for a corner. And that's maybe where Quinyon Mitchell comes in. I'm not 100% sold on the idea because I believe that Bradbury was misused last year. This is a guy who's excelled as a zone corner, and you asked him to play man-to-man against some of the best receivers in the NFL. That's a dumb move. That's a dumb play. Why do you ask somebody who is that would be like taking a sports car and going off-roading with it. Could the sports car legitimately survive off-roading? Sure, a Corvette could. But a Corvette's strength is not on off-roading because something bad could happen and the vehicle gets stuck in the mud or stuck in the woods or lose traction and crash into a tree. That's how I look at Bradbury. Bradbury is not built for certain styles of play. He is at his best when he is playing as a zone cover corner. And I felt Desai and Patricia kept asking Bradbury to do things that were not his strength last year. So does Fangio come in here and use Bradbury the way that John Gannon did a couple of years ago? Or do we get halfway through camp and Fangio has to turn to the Eagles front office and say, look, guys, Quinyon Mitchell's ready to go right now. And I don't have space for Bradbury. Bradbury is not one of our two best corners anymore. That's what I'm curious to find out when we get to training camp and before the season. All right. We'll get more of your text, 609-403-0973, your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Josh Hennick here on 973, hanging out with you on a Wednesday night.
It's Carlin vs. Joe with Chris Carlin and Joe Fortenbaugh on 97.3 ESPN.
We loved him in Philadelphia. I say that because I'm a Philadelphia fan, and I was a huge fan of Jimmy Butler there. The fact that they went with Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons over Jimmy Butler is something everyone regrets. Do they regret that to the point where now they see a second opportunity and they make the mistake of saying, look, we got to correct that previous wrong?
It's Carlin vs. Joe with Chris Carlin and Joe Fortenbaugh. Weekdays from noon to 2 on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Hi, this is Quentin. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, crispy, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu, especially when you add in that Chick-fil-A sauce. Always the perfect combination. And then personally, you know me, I'm getting a 4-count. I want as much chicken as possible. I'm that guy. Whenever I get them, whether it be lunch or for dinner, in my household, it's always a winner.
Order the chicken strips on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customer paid for their testimonial. Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-235-5588. That's 800-235-5588. 800-235-5588.
Sometimes when you want adventure, you like to take your time getting there. You like to experience the journey as well as the destination. There is no better way to do that than in a 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. With 7 drive modes and available intelligent 4-wheel drive, your journey can be filled with many unpredictable twists and terrains. Need to tow some extra fun with you? The Pathfinder has up to 6,000 pounds of towing capacity. The 2024 Nissan Pathfinder. Enjoy the ride along the way. Intelligent 4-wheel drive cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions. Towing capacity varies by configuration. See Nissan Towing Guide and Owner's Manual for additional information. Always secure cargo.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America NA.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 500 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 500, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code 500 for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUMEdeodorant.com, code 500 to save 15% today.
Are you getting hit hard by low trade offers?
Ouch! That was a blindside.
That's a personal foul. Don't get blindsided by low trade offers. Bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia. Just because you don't see your new Kia on the lot doesn't mean you can't be driving it home tomorrow. Select from hundreds of new and certified Kias.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 and Toms River.
Hey, Joe Montana here. Back in my football days, I knew the importance of a strong defense. Now I'm sharing how you can help defend your health against pneumococcal pneumonia, a bacterial lung disease that can be life-threatening. If you're 65 or older, or 19 or older with certain chronic conditions like diabetes or asthma, you're at increased risk. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination and learn more at knowpneumonia.com. That's KNOW pneumonia.com.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code KIND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City, a community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal housing lender.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Don't forget, coming up this Saturday, boxing returns to Tropicana Showroom for the first time in 7 years as Boxing Insider Promotions presents a stacked fight card you do not want to miss. That's Saturday, May 11th, the undefeated junior middleweight Justin Figueroa from Atlantic City, along with some of the top fighters in New Jersey and New York in action inside the Tropicana Atlantic City showroom. Go to Ticketmaster.com now and get your tickets to make sure you do not miss this special Boxing Insider Promotions event this Saturday, May 11th, inside Tropicana in Atlantic City. If you missed my conversation with Justin Figueroa on yesterday's show, just go to our website, 973ESPN.com. There's an article up right there on the website and on the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle, where you can listen to my conversation with Justin. Great insights from him about his background, his mentality, how he went from, just a young guy growing up in Atlantic City to Holy Spirit High School to now being one of the top junior middleweight prospects in professional boxing. So to learn more about the Saturday's event and hear my conversation with Justin Figueroa, just go to 973ESPN.com or the 973 ESPN mobile app to check out my conversation with him from yesterday's show. All right, back to text board 609-403-0970. More Eagles talk. Text chimes in, says Sean Desai was so bad he would have had Lawrence Taylor playing cornerback. Obviously, it's an exaggeration. So I do have a theory about Desai, okay? And I can't prove this. I have no evidence that this is exactly what happened, but I have a theory for what happened. And my theory for what happened with Desai is that I think there were two huge problems for the Eagles last year. Number one, which has been reported, is that Desai didn't communicate very well with the players about what he needed them and wanted them to do. Anytime you have a person in position of management or any authority, right? Whether it's a coach in football, whether it is a shift supervisor at Wawa, whether it is, a general manager of a corporation, whatever your, position is, if you are not a good communicator, you are not going to get the best out of your people. And I think that Sean Desai suffered from the idea that he assumed that the guys knew what to do in the defense he was calling. And because he made assumptions, things went sideways. He did not communicate well. And I don't know if that is just something, a part of his demeanor and personality, or that is some character flaw he has, or he legitimately was just doing a bad job. All right. I don't know the guy personally, so I can't tell you. But what I do know is the first problem with Sean Desai was he was not a good communicator. People have complained about him dropping Hassan Reddick in the coverage. And people have complained about, like me, how he used James Bradbury. People have complained about, the way that they rotated the D line for the D tackles, right? And I still wonder this day how much of those issues was about him being a poor communicator. Because again, if you are a shift supervisor at Wawa, let's say, or you are a manager in any capacity with people under you, when you don't communicate to them properly about what their job is, what their assignments are, and you'll just do it once, okay? One of the problems we have in today's society, people are mentally lazy. Maybe Sean Desai falls in this category. The mental laziness that people have causes our society to go around and say, well, I told you one time, so you should remember what to do and how to do it till the end of time. That's not how it works. The best companies, the best operations, the best football teams over communicate. You remind people every day, this is what we're doing. This is what we're going to execute today. This is how we're going to process this job. This is how we're going to attack the day. And I think Sean Desai was just maybe lazy when it came to that. The other problem with Desai was that I'm thoroughly convinced that he he told the Eagles something in his interview and was somebody else on the practice field. I think Sean Desai, because he has a guy with a background who worked for a lot of really good coaches. He worked with Pete Carroll. He worked with Vic Fangio. He worked with Chuck Pagano. He worked with a lot of smart guys. So obviously he is excellent as being the support staff for a smart coach. And maybe he's just really good at talking to coaches and front office people. But whatever he says in those interviews to Howie Roseman, the Nick Sirianni, whatever was said in those interviews was never translated onto the practice field and in game preparation. So this goes back to the idea that you can interview somebody. It doesn't mean they're always the best person for a job. Again, another side effect of the society we live in. We have people who, like, look at football players. Some of these dudes train harder for the NFL combine than they do to play actual football on game day. That's why some of these guys are such elite superstars in running the 40-yard dash and doing the vertical leap and running the cone drill. And they look like amazing football players in shorts and a t-shirt, but you get them in pads in the football field and they look slow, inadequate, and unprepared. And so the same thing goes for coaching. There's very strong possibility that someone could be an excellent interview and have all the right words and put together a great PowerPoint presentation. And they put all this effort into getting the job, and then they get the job and they're not actually equipped for how to do the job properly. So I'm not convinced that Sean Desai is the idiot that some people make him out to be. I think that Sean Desai might have been either out of his depth or he put a great facade, and I don't want to say he lied to the Eagles, but he put out an impression that he was more competent than he was. I think the other side of it was he was a bad communicator. There's multiple reports out there that he didn't communicate well with people, and that Matt Patricia basically just made everything worse. You went from bad to worse. And so that's why it was so essential for you to get Vic Fangio, because you needed to hire a coordinator who is not some wishy-washy guy who you don't know what you're getting. No, you know exactly what you're getting when Vic Fangio walks into your organization. I'm Josh Hennig. Have a great night, everybody.
Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN Radio. Heated National League East rivals go head-to-head at Citi Field.
Ronald Acuna Jr. with a bomb.
Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Atlanta Braves face Pete Alonso and the New York Mets.
A three-run homer for Pete Alonso.
The Braves at the Mets on Sunday Night Baseball. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern with first pitch at 7 Eastern.
Listen to Sunday Night Baseball on 97.3 ESPN.